and say stuff like, you win some, you lose some. Hey, this racetrack doesn't know me anything. But it's all lies. For months it has eaten you up inside. The track does owe you for that lost win. It's time to make it pay out.
And Ryan Truex is our in-race reporter. Let's talk to him, DJ.
Hey, Ryan, I know you had a great race here back in June. We were just watching the highlights of that, and it's kind of been the mailbag question that everybody kind of sent in, and we chose Corey from Peabody, Massachusetts, his question, and it asked, do you see this race as a redemption race, knowing that you could have won in June?
For sure, for sure. You know, I've probably replayed that race 1,000 times in my head, you know, trying to think of what I could have done differently to run the race. And, you know, I've kind of gone through mentally what I need in a race car to come back here and win the race. And these guys at RB Racing, they work so hard. You know, they work so hard to give me great race cars, and they work their butts off. So my hat's off to them. They gave me a really good race car. We didn't qualify quite as good as I hoped we would, but they don't pay money for qualifying. So I think we got a good car and race trim, and got to be there at the end. It's 200 laps, and a lot can happen. So keep the fenders on it, keep the wheels on it, and hopefully we come out here with a good finish.
Ryan, you have a short but very impressive career here with your starts so far. What is it about this place that you like so much?
I don't know. That's a great question. I've just always had great race cars here, and this weekend is no exception. Like I said, these guys are giving me a great race car. And when you come this close to home and you know your brothers won here and all your friends and family are up in the stands watching it, it makes it that much more special. And, you know, I think I work extra hard when I come to this racetrack and really try to be on my game and you know, try to win one for the hometown crowd.
All right, man. Well, great race cars need great race drivers. You do a great job out there today. Thanks for talking with us. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Scott Zipadelli.
Hey, Scott, it's Andy in the booth. We had a little bit of weather roll through here last night, so NASCAR is going to throw a competition caution at lap 45. How's that going to affect the strategy you had planned for today?
Well, I did a little studying since you and I had our conversation, and it looks like we'll have to use our second can of fuel on that stop. So it's going to be a 4 tires and full of fuel stop and maybe a little bit of a chassis adjustment in case we need it.
Well, what do you think this racetrack's going to do now with this cloud cover?
I think it's going to be fast. It's going to have a lot of grip. It's going to change real quick if the sun comes out, and it's kind of poking in and out. But we're looking forward to having a good race for Sea-Watch and Grind Boss and Toyota and all the people that support us so much. I'd like to say hi to my little girl Tori at home, who just came home from her chemotherapy treatment this week. And I love you, honey, and I'll see you pretty soon.
Okay, well, we really appreciate you talking with us, Scott. Good luck today.
Thank you, guys.
Over the wall reporter for us today is the front tire changer for the 99 team of Ryan Truex. That's Shane DePaula, and there's his view that he'll give us today. Our onboard cameras, we've got a whole passel for you as always. Let's start off with Elliott Sadler, as he'll have our Chevrolet onboard camera. And there's his view. Austin Dillon with the Goodyear onboard camera. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with Nationwide Insurance.
Got you loud and clear, bud. Chad Ford, hey, I thought you were going to wear your fires, dude. Not needed today. I just really wanted to see you in it.
You've been waiting all week to say that, haven't you?
Danica Patrick, as always, with the GoDaddy.com camera. Sam Hornish with the Dodge on board. Joey Logano with another Nationwide Insurance camera. Justin Allgaier on the front row with the Fresh from Florida Gulf Seafood camera. And we've talked to Ryan Truex. He's got the Toyota onboard camera. Let's get the latest on our top stories and that young record-setting pole sitter. How about it, Vince Welch?
Well, Marty, throughout the garage, everyone seems to be in agreement that 18-year-old Darrell Wallace Jr. has unquestioned talent. All he needs is seat time, experience. In just his 4th Nationwide Series race, he will start this race from the pole here today. So we know he can do it for 1 lap. The big question is, can he do it for 200? Dave Burns?
This is Ryan Blaney's first start at the Monster Mile. He'd seen plenty of video, but when he finally drove the track, he told me this place is much more extreme than what anybody told me. He starts 8th. Jamie Little?
And Kurt Busch drove the 54 car to a 4th place finish here in June, but crew chief Mike Beam said that wasn't good enough. They brought a different car, a different setup, and Kyle Busch is behind the wheel with 3 wins here. victory could be in his sights. Dr. Jerry Punch.
And in 2 nationwide starts here at the Monster Mile, it has not been kind to Danica Patrick. It finishes of 30th and 35th. The learning curve has been very steep. Danica says, I'm worried about having a tight race car today and using up that right front tire. If she does, the Monster could reap its wrath on Danica Patrick. Hardy.
Thank you, Doc. Joey Logano used to be the record holder here as the youngest pole sitter at 19 years of age. It's now 18-year-old Darrell Wallace Jr. on the inside with the number 20. As he brings him down with Justin Allgaier alongside, they hit the front stretch, and this race is green. Turn number 2, Justin Allgaier gets some great momentum and looks to take the lead, and does. Allgaier comes across the stripe, leading lap number 1.
Our championship contenders right there, the first and second place with Elliott Sadler and Ricky Stenhouse had a close moment coming off of turn 4 of that first lap.
Darrell Wallace under attack now from the 18 of Joey Logano, so he slips back to 3rd. On board with Joey.
Probably a good spot for Darrell Wallace to get in and follow around a teammate there, and Joey Logano, a man that knows how to win at this racetrack. Just see exactly what he's doing this first part of the race and how he's making this work.
He's got great track position early, so he can sit there. He's not being pushed by anybody behind. He can just follow his teammate there and learn some things.
Ryan Blaney in the discount tire number 22 alongside the 3 of Austin Dillon. The 2 rookies going after each other, and Sam Hornish Jr. in the 12 has a great view of both of them.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that Austin Dillon didn't qualify any better. He was the fastest in practice, and he qualified back a little further than I expected, but he looks like he's going the right way now.
Yeah, and had to laugh a little bit there as Dave Burns talked about Ryan Blaney. Somebody explaining to him about this, and it was quite a bit more extreme than what you can't explain what it's like to drive a race car around this place at over 150 miles an hour. You have to go experience it. Ryan Blaney doing a nice job.
The 2 Penske teammates side by side with the 43 of Michael Annette right behind. Whoa, a little wiggle there from Sam.
Yeah, that's the thing that makes this place so difficult. Wow. Oh.
We were both holding our breath.
Yeah, that Sam Hornish did a nice job of staying off, because that's a tough position to drive down these corners. Your car gets a little bit loose. It's rough down there. You bounce up into that car on the outside and create a big mess for everyone. That's part of the difficulty of racing here.
Yeah, and I know the camera doesn't really show it that well, but it's like riding a roller coaster here when you dip down into the corner and then climb back out.
Yeah, it's the biggest thrill ride you have ever been on, I promise you. It gets your attention no matter how many times you've raced here.
You saw Justin Allgaier. He's opened up about an 0.8 of a second lead as he has led every lap. And remember, we will have a competition caution at lap 45 because of last night's rain here in Dover.
The rain washed most of the rubber off the racetrack. You see that there's some back on it from qualifying earlier today. Both series, the Cup Series also qualified, and so did the Nationwide Series. So they put a little rubber down during those sessions.
We can tell that the 15 of Kelly Byers has taken it behind the wall. 3 other cars are on pit road right now. TJ Bell, Mike McDowell, Chase Miller. Justin Allgaier finished 5th back in the June race here. His lead still at around 0.7 of a second. Deeper in the field, there you see the 11 of Brian Scott, the 7 of Danica Patrick, and the 40, Eric Darnell. And we're hearing that the 40 may have an engine issue. Not sounding very good, guys.
It looks like he does have a problem, for sure.
He is getting passed by J.J. Yeley there in the 27. Darnell has slipped all the way back to 23rd position. Meanwhile, up front, Justin Allgaier continues to motor on as he has got the race lead. They're already going around the 70 car. That's Tony Raines, so he's the first to go a lap down on the track. Stay with us. Welcome back to the NASCAR Nationwide Series. It's the One Main Financial 200 Dover International Speedway. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. We're focusing on the 18 of Joey Logano for a good reason. During the commercial break, he got around the 31 of Justin Allgaier. And let's go back and show you how it happened.
Yeah, he had a good run off of turn 2 and looked like he might make the pass, but the lap car there on the bottom going into turn 3 held him off for just a minute, but not long.
Hey, this pass looked easy.
Looks like Justin Allgaier may be fighting his car a little bit in the center of the corner. Looks like a little bit of a loose issue maybe.
Well, we've completed 18 of the 200 laps. That is our second leader of the day. As you see the 33 of Paul Menard getting a little closer to the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Yeah, I've been watching Ricky Stenhouse. It looks like he might be fighting an ill-handling car too. He's actually using a lot higher line, especially in 3 and 4.
I'll tell you one thing I've really seen is how difficult these lap cars are making it as these cars on the lead lap approach them. They're not giving them much room for sure.
One of those is the 4 of Brad Teague. And you can see right there the 33 is side by side now with the 6.
Yeah, if memory serves me right, I think it was Brad Teague that figured into the finish of the race where Ryan Truex lost the last time we were up here.
You guys were talking about ill-handling cars. Let's show you some examples as we get a chance to go inside the cockpit and watch Danica Patrick. We were watching her during the break.
And her car's not really good. I mean, she's fighting the car getting into the corner. That is, oh gosh, that's got to be scary. Having to turn right. Oh my.
Yeah, you don't ever want to be turning right on this racetrack, but certainly you can watch her having to turn right entering the corner. Just really, you cannot attack this racetrack like you need to, Doc, if you're having to drive the car like this.
Absolutely, DJ. And Danica told me before she climbed in the car, so they told her the car would probably be really, really tight early on because new crew chief Ryan Pemberton was going to try to get the car real tight so it would free up as the race went on. But right now, as you saw, she said, wow, I am really free on entry and on exit, having to crank that steering wheel to the right, which certainly is not fun for a driver here at Dover.
Now, they've got some real issues they need to address with that car. I'm telling you, she's fighting just to keep that car under and not wreck it.
Yeah, when I watch that, it's almost like that's not something they're going to be able just to fix here. They may make it some better, but that looks like an issue that car's not getting down on the springs properly, getting into the corner, and she's really having to fight this.
You can see it right there. I mean, that car is all over the place.
Statistically, this has been her worst performing track in 2 starts here. She's never been better than 30th.
I can tell you, she doesn't have a lot to work with right there.
No, but you know, I've watched some of the lap times here, and she's about 2 to 3 tenths a lap off of our leader, Joey Logano. I was really expecting to see more, over a half second at least, so she's really doing a good job of driving what she has here right now.
Well, if she makes 200 laps, her arms might be worn out by the end of this one.
She better hope that Cup car tomorrow's driving better than that, or she's got a long 2 days.
Well, could that be one of the issues? She had to split right after each practice, the one and only practice really for Nationwide, and bolt over to the Sprint Cup side.
I don't think so. I think that's just a car problem. They just don't have something right there. Like Dale said, it's either in their shock package and the way the car sits down on the springs. They run a coil bind package, so something is just not right in that front end.
Yeah, most everywhere else that we've seen, it's been a benefit to her to get in both the cars. We see Ricky Stenhouse now trying to go up and pass Kyle Busch. You can see how difficult it is to make that run up off the corner. You need all of that racetrack to complete your pass here.
That is 6th, 7th, and 8th on the racetrack, with Kyle holding the 6th spot. Ricky sort of backs off and falls back into line with Paul Menard right behind in the 33.
Yeah, Kyle Busch had been running more at the bottom. I think he looked in his mirror maybe when Ricky Stenhouse was catching him, said maybe there's something to this, or a spotter possibly relayed some information that the 6 cars catching you by going a little bit higher on the racetrack. So Kyle's giving that a try and actually pulled away just a little bit. This 54 car doesn't look too bad, Jamie. What do they say?
It isn't too bad, DJ, but he started out really bad loose, he said, but it's getting better as he runs. Just a little bit loose through the center, and the exit is okay. So he's trying to find his way and figuring out where this car's going to run best. But he wants a track bar adjustment as the battle continues. Ricky trying to get around the 54 at Kyle Busch.
Can't get it done on that corner as they come down the front straightaway one more time, as we're now working lap 29 of 200. A little wiggle there from Kyle. Vince, get us an update on that 6 car, will you?
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. says the car is just too tight in the center right now, so he doesn't have the kind of car that he wants. They'll work on that as the race progresses. They were concerned about this being tight in the center and getting the proper drive off. Remember, he hit the wall early in this race in the spring, ended up finishing 32nd. They can't afford that kind of day today as they chase the championship.
And he was running second at the time of that contact with the wall back in June. Everybody right now is chasing Joey Logano. He's one of 4 past Dover winners here in the field today. And of course, back in June, he led 154 of 200 in his victory. Right now, he's led 17 of the 30 that we've completed. Our race leader is Joey Logano. He has now led 24 of the 37 laps that we have completed. And you can see that he has finally gotten around the 27 of J.J. Yaley, who will start 40th in the Cup race tomorrow. There's the 54, Kyle Busch, and Ricky Stenhouse is still right behind him. That's the battle for 5th.
Well, you can see how they have really moved up the track and trying to find some kind of grip. Like it's working pretty good. At least Kyle Busch has been able to hold off Stenhouse for a long time.
Yeah, Stenhouse has been there trying to make a pass on the bottom side a couple of different times. Hasn't been able to make it work, but
how about that run? You see how they went way high in the corner. Gets a big run on Kyle this time.
The 39 of Tim Andrews lap traffic was out of the way there, giving him that opportunity, and he does get around Kyle. So
that's pretty cool.
Stenhouse is into 5th. While we're watching this battle continue, Logano's lead is up to 2.5 seconds over Justin Allgaier. And let's check in on our pole sitter, Darrell Wallace Jr., because he's slipping back in the wrong direction. Here comes Sam Hornish on the high side to get around him. It puts Sam into 7th.
I think that upper lane is something that Darrell Wallace is going to have to start exploring. He's been running on the bottom, and it's not working for him at this point.
Paul Menard also gets around. You know, we were just talking about Sam Hornish, and he had a interesting moment as he was behind the 33 of Paul Menard, but watch what happens with Menard.
You see Menard car get loose as he went back to the throttle trying to get up off the corner. He's got a lap car there, so that means that he can't get in the throttle as hard as he wants. Sam Hornish takes advantage of that.
So if he's going high, I'm going low.
And that may look like just a small wiggle as we show it through that camera, but that really gets your attention as a driver.
Especially at the speeds that they are flying around this track. The 3 of Austin Dillon has now gotten around Darrell Wallace Jr. Vince, what are you hearing on that 20 car?
It has been loose from the get-go. Right away, Darrell mentioned that the car was way loose as it landed going into the corner, and then it became loose all over. So that's something they're definitely going to have to work on, getting him comfortable with the race car. He's still learning what he wants out of the car, but he knows he doesn't want what he's got right now.
Well, he's going to have Michael Annett closing on him here in the not-too-distant future. Annett's in 11th place.
Yeah, this racetrack will continue to go through a little bit of a change as more of this rubber gets down on the track. And it seems to be that this track loses some grip as you get more of that rubber down.
How about our top 2 championship contenders? They're running, well, not nose to tail, but at least in where they can see each other. The 2 of Elliott Sadler in front of the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Yeah, at this point of the run, those are 2 of the fastest cars on the track. I know we've got about a lap or 2 before they throw this caution for the competition yellow. But these 2 look pretty good in the long run.
Stenhouse lost 25 points in the June race when he crashed early to Elliott Sadler. And here comes the caution as it has come out, as NASCAR promised.
Competition caution.
So now, what's the strategy?
Well, I talked to Scott Zipadelli before the race, and he was talking about if they threw it around 35 or 40 laps, that there might be a little bit of strategy, and they might even think about taking 2 tires. But he said, I just heard him say before the race started that they would take 4 tires now that it's at that lap 45 mark. That's almost a full run. You've got to plug in 2 gas cans. It's probably going to take about 10 to 12 seconds to do that, so you might as well get 4 tires.
We'll find out exactly how everything unfolds as everybody will get a chance to see about tire wear.
You know, you can see in that shot as the caution came out, Danica Patrick was there in front of the leader. She stayed on the lead lap. I'm going to give her a pat on the back right there. With that driving that race car, and I know it's only 45 laps, but that's a handful around this racetrack when it's not driving well.
She is in 18th place. There are only 19 cars on the lead lap right now. In fact, Alex Bowman looks like he will be the winner of the Lucky Dog, and so he'll be the 20th car to come back on the lead lap. And here we go, 35 miles an hour, snail's pace, after you've been flying as fast as you go around here at the 1 mile Dover International Speedway. From high above, let's send it to Dave Burns first.
Marty, leader Logano started the race tight, but that car quickly went to loose, especially on landing. When they adjust this race car and take Sunoco fuel, they'll try to correct that for Joey. The guy who led the race early, the 31 of Justin Allgaier, his car went loose as well, especially when he turns the wheel. He says it's iffy. He'll get a track bar adjustment and 4 tires. Vince Welch.
The 2 of Elliott Sadler, upper right-hand side of your screen. Good on entry, tight through the center, and loose off. So they want to snug it up on the exit, but not hurt the entry. The 38 of Casey Kane, you see him leaving the pit lane. He liked his race car. He said, let's just put tires on it and go.
Well, there you see 2 tires for Casey Kane. It helps him pick up 2 spots. Sam Hornish and Paul Menard each pick up 3 with a 4-tire stop. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. loses 2. Stay with us. Also a watch, ESPN. Part of Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. There's a lot of EJs, BJs, and AJs. Does anybody have a name?
I don't know, MR. Well, green now, though.
Yeah, we're going green, and it's Casey Kane. He took the high side. Joey Logano in the 18 underneath. I think Casey might want to rethink that strategy because Joey Logano's out in front of him.
I'm not sure he could have done anything with him with 4 tires the way Logano's run so far, though.
And Joey is wasting no time, open up a little more ground. Farther back, see there, the 54 and the 12. Kyle Busch, Sam Hornish. Kyle's gotten around Sam, and Sam's now under attack from the 33 of Menard. And now here comes Sam right back.
Kyle Busch wanted his car to get tightened up a little bit with the track bar adjustments, what they were talking about doing.
Yeah, we heard a lot of loose cars out there. A lot of people saying that first run, a lot looser than they expected.
It will be interesting to watch this 38 with those 2 tires as this run progresses, see if that hurts him.
Casey Kane, I mean, if anybody can make it work, Casey can.
Whoa, the 54 of Kyle Busch. One of those moments.
It's just the difficulty here. You try to drive it off down into the corner to where you've got position on that car on the outside. You get in there too hard, it slams the racetrack, you get loose. Next thing you know, you're fighting for your life, trying to save it.
Well, Hornish is carrying a lot of momentum on that high side. You saw Paul Menard, he had to fall back in line, and behind Menard is the 3 of Austin Dillon. Get an update on the 33 and the 3. How about it, Dave Burns?
33 of Paul Menard told me before the race started, I think we've got a top 5 car. Well, if his crew keeps operating the way they just did, they're going to get there on pit road. They picked up 3 spots. Paul's car was just a little bit tight in the center, but turning better by the end. As for the 3 of Austin Dillon, that car was an 8 out of 10 loose. He told his crew that he was glad that first run was over. They got a chance to work on that and tighten that car up. It was a big wedge adjustment. So
that's 2 of the 3 RCR cars as you see the battle going on between the 31 Justin Allgaier, the 54 of Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I'm not sure that these 2 haven't touched. You can see the right front tire on Kyle's car. All the letters are gone. The same thing on the left rear tire of the 31 of Allgaier. They may have been together.
Right there with Casey Kane, and we may be seeing the answer to that 2-tire strategy you were talking about. He's holding on, but not by a lot.
Yeah, it's a tough racetrack to go put 2 tires on because we've talked about this concrete surface getting rubbered up, losing even more grip. I would think that's quite the gamble. Now's the time to find that out in case you need that later.
We're getting confirmation that there was some contact between Allgaier and Kyle Busch, and there you go.
There's your confirmation, Marty. Getting a good look at that.
Probably a good thing it happened on the straightaway and not in the corner.
Yeah, that's more contact between the 54 and the 31 because the 31's up against the wall. Not much anywhere else he can go.
I'm not sure it didn't hurt Kyle's car a little bit, though.
Allgaier still putting the pressure on Casey Kane in that 38. Good racing going on right now. As now Kyle has the 12 in his rear view mirrors. It's Tony Raines bringing the 70 back on pit road. With a total of 10 cars either off or out of this race behind the wall. Back on board with Allgaier looking to take over second spot.
This is one of those tracks, Dale, though, it's really kind of hard to move somebody without causing a wreck.
Yeah, you really can't. I mean, you don't want to go running into them. You can affect their race car with the air because you are well over 150 miles per hour here. So you can do it that way, but you don't want to be using any contact. You're going to mess up your car and possibly a lot more with that.
Or you can do it just like that right there.
There you go.
Get a little cooperation from your teammate. Yeah, so that does it.
So Justin Allgaier gets around the 38 of Casey Kane. And we mentioned the fact that the 2 car had a terrible pit stop, restarted in 11th. Well, it's gotten even a little bit worse because Elliott Sadler in the 2 is now shown in the 13th position.
They had a lot of trouble on that pit stop. The right side, maybe the right front, they couldn't get off. It cost them a ton of time.
They lost a couple of spots on the restart and just hasn't been able to make them up. And it may just be that Elliott's going to be impatient right here, but he's certainly not giving anything for the 12th place car in front of him.
Yeah, you can see there's almost 5 seconds difference in just the 2 pit stops of the teammates. Well, Paul Menard had a great stop there at 12.4.
I'm watching his hands on the wheel, and he's not working anywhere near as hard as we saw Danica Patrick. So the car's handling at least pretty well. Let's go back and show you the pit stop.
You can see right here, that right front tire is really turned out a little bit. It's not completely straight. Looks like as they go back in with the new tire, they're having a little trouble getting it splined on the studs.
Vince, you've got more?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Andy. Hit the nail right on the head. That right front was turned. It gave him trouble getting it on and off. And Luke Lambert, his crew chief, talked with Elliott about it afterwards.
Wheels were turned a little bit there, Elliott.
My wheels won't turn. I must have knocked the fender in or something while I was racing.
I don't know if it's the line on the wheel or they look like they were just a little bit.
Boy, pit road can make such a difference, guys. You mentioned longer pit stop, cost him 7 spots on the track, maybe not restarting where he wants. Next thing you know, it's in a couple of more spots. So important, the work that's done here on pit road.
Well, take a look at the points. But I can also tell you, Dover is one of 4 active tracks that Sadler does not have a top 5 finish on. His best here is 6th twice, so he's got a little work to do.
Well, like I said, the first run, he had a good car. Him and Stenhouse both were 2 of the fastest cars. I think Joey Logano was still a little bit quicker, but they were about the 2nd and 3rd quickest cars the last probably 10 or 12 laps of that 45-lap run.
And I looked at him right now, still running the very bottom. I would guess in the next 10 laps for sure, but I would think if I were telling him as fast as he was up on the higher side of this racetrack, let's move up there and start passing some of these cars back, get in some clean air.
There's your race leader, Joey Logano, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. JGR drivers have won 6 of the last 10 Dover races. They've led 67% of those laps. Let's check the motorsports calendar because chase race number 3 in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. It's here at Dover. It's presented by GoDaddy.com, and it starts at 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow on ESPN. Our AAA Insurance NHRA Midwest Finals will be at 8 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night on ESPN2. And our next stop, we're going to take the week off, but on October 12th, 7 o'clock Eastern, that's a Friday night race on ESPN, will be in Charlotte. The race is presented by GoDaddy.com. Joey Logano's lead is 1.1 seconds, and that is the Monster Bridge, and that's actually over the entrance into turn number 3. They have television monitors up above, and there's the view that they get. That's got to be pretty cool.
That is incredible. I would love to sit up there and watch a race. I know they've got another bridge that you walk across, and I've walked across there when they're practicing. And it's pretty thrilling to watch these cars, how they go and how fast they're going through these corners, and watch how they load up.
And the fastest of the fast is that guy right there, as Joey Logano has now led 59 of the 75 laps we've completed. Now, we're getting an update on that yellow number 12 that you see coming streaking through. Sam Hornish may have an issue. What about it, Dr. Jerry Punch?
Well, first, the good news, Marty. The good news is they just told him you ran the last 2 laps faster than the leader. That's the good news. Now the bad news, His voltmeter is down to 7.5 volts. That's why on the right side of your screen, they just brought a battery over to possibly put a battery in on the next, what could be the final pit stop. Now he's being passed on the racetrack by Austin Dillon. That is 4th position, but the voltmeter now 7 volts, Andy, and dropping. Not good news for the 12 car.
Not at all, Doc. As a matter of fact, if it's 7 volts, they're going to be putting that battery in a lot sooner than that last stop. This is not going to last long for Sam.
Well, we figure you can go about 80 laps on a tank of fuel, so we had our caution back on about lap 46, so you can do the math, and he's still got a long way to go as we're working lap number 78.
Yeah, when that thing's down to 7, that means the alternator's not working at all, and those batteries, you can see how small that battery is. There's just not a lot of reserve power in it.
So Sam Hornish may have some issues that could deny him a good top 5 run here. He's running 6th right now. There is Brian Scott. Now, here's a guy who had a terrible qualifying this morning. I mean, it was just short of crashing. And he ends up starting 38. And you can see he has moved up 27 positions, guys. And he is now in the top 10. How about it, Jamie Little?
And how he saved it in qualifying, I don't know. But it's well-deserved. Marty, he gained 25 of those positions on the racetrack. And then on that first round of pit stops, they made a wedge adjustment, put 4 tires on it, and still managed to get him out and gain 2 more positions. They are on a rail right now. Remember, he finished 3rd here in June. It's one of his favorite racetracks, and he's showing it.
And that 3rd matches his career best from Chicagoland, Jamie. He won the May 09 truck race here at Dover, so he likes this track.
Yeah, and one thing he did, by being so far back, he had to really move up to the top. He was probably the first car I saw using that upper lane, and it's really working for him. He's running fast lap times really from the start of the race.
Battle for 11th. Michael Annett, Darrell Wallace Jr., our pole sitter, is still trying to figure out this race car, as it was great for qualifying this morning, but it's gotten away from him after that first run.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but he's actually doing a nice job for his first time here in a nationwide car. I'm pretty impressed with what he's been able to do here, Vince.
Well, then they're still fighting loose, DJ, and you're exactly right. Crew Chief Matt Lucas said most important for Darrell Wallace Jr. today is to run all the laps, go to the end, gain the experience. Everybody in the garage knows this kid's got talent. They want to see it all day long. Whether they finish in the top 10, that would be great, but more than anything is gain the experience at this level, at such a difficult track, get to know the car better, and just keep taking steps forward. And even though he's going backwards, he's learning a lot right now.
Well, and I remember Richmond, Vince. It was his 3rd straight top 10 finish. He came home 10th, his worst of the 3, and he was so angry with himself and disappointed because he thought he didn't get everything he could. And there are his 3 finishes, and I think any rookie would take 3 top 10s and be very happy.
He's been real impressive. You see the 2 Iowa races, and that's without a lot of the Cup stars in the race, but he's out here set on the pole today with a lot of good talent.
Yeah, talent's not the issue. It's to get the experience in these cars right now.
Well, DJ and I saw him right after he won the pole, and he says, man, I'm feeling good. And he may not be feeling quite as good as he was, but he's still got a lot of race to go because we are working lap 85 of 200. But we are 9 laps away from halfway. We had a competition caution. It's the only caution we've had. Joey Logano is our leader. He's led 75 of the 91 laps that we have run. You see Justin Allgaier and Casey Kane are the other 2 that have led laps. Biggest movers, Brian Scott, Tim Andrews, and Brad Teague. We've got 10 cars that are either out of this race or behind the wall. And as you can see right now, the standings, well, they're getting even tighter. Let's go nationwide, up to speed. And Joey Logano, and that means Dave Burns, you've got it.
And Marty, he's not complaining much about his race car right now. If he did, he'd have some new ears listening to him. Joey's trying out a new spotter in the Nationwide Series. 23-year-old Coleman Presley is spotting in the Nationwide. He's a crew chief in the K&N Series. He's a racer himself. And he's also being evaluated for possible future work with Joey. Oh, and one more thing. He lives in Joey's house. So it was easy to find him, easy to put him to work. And so far, they're having a solid day together. Second place, 31, Justin Allgaier. His car is still a little bit loose. Remember, we said it was iffy when he turned the steering wheel on the first run. But they've had a good weekend so far. A solid practice in which they went right off the truck quick and kept that setup in the entire weekend. Vince?
Running in 3rd place is Allgaier's teammate. That's the 38 of Casey Kane. Kane's crew chief, Trent Owens, working together for just the third time. Owens made the call on that first pit stop to go with 2 tires instead of 4 like most others, but it hasn't hurt the car. Casey says it's still handling well. Jamie?
Well, when it comes to Dover, Kyle Busch has made a playground out of this place in the past. 3 wins, and he's led 853 laps here, but he's still trying to lead that first lap today, saying his car starts out loose, but it starts to get a little bit better. First 15 laps, so it feels like he has too much air in his tires. Dave?
We saw the struggles that Casey Kane had with a 2-tire stop. Austin Dillon's young crew was considering doing the same thing, but the veteran, Grandpa, Pop, Richard Childress, advised him, I don't think I'd go 2. You need to give him 4 here. They did that, and the car is still underneath. He needs to be tightened up going into the corner and loosened up coming off the corner right now. Doc?
And back behind him, Sam Hornich is 4th in the point standing, 6th on the racetrack, and 7 on the voltmeter. Well, the voltmeter seems to be an issue, but the speed has come back for Sam Hornich. In fact, the lap times have gotten better and better. He has shut some fans off. Right now the car a little bit loose on the racetrack. Dave?
Paul Menard, we said, gained positions when he was on pit road. He's lost a couple on the track since the restart. One of the reasons was he was trying the top groove, but he reasoned it was way too loose for the car up there. He's gone back to the bottom for sure. Vince?
Well, and behind Menard is the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Came into this race 4 points behind in the championship hunt. He's about 6 seconds behind the leader right now. He says on a scale of 1 to 10, he's about a 5 loose all the way around. Jamie?
In the 11 of Brian Scott, they unloaded this car about where they left off in the June race here. And there he is, that bright yellow Dollar General machine. But he's saying the car is actually starting to slip inside. It feels like the tires are worn out, so he's going to need some changes definitely on this next stop, Vince.
And the 99 of Ryan Truex certainly had high hopes for his performance here today. Finished 2nd here in June after starting from the pole. He's running with a different team here today, but he said, oddly enough, that 99 car had a very similar feel to the Joe Gibbs machine he had here in June. Very optimistic about where they would be, but you see about 9.5 seconds behind the leader. A little too free right now, Marty.
And to wrap up our nationwide insurance up to speed, Darrell Wallace Jr. is 11th, and Elliott Sadler is running right now in the 12th position, and there he is.
No, right rear lateral grip. On entry or exit. On entry or exit. That's all, man. We copy you.
Well, a tough break right now for Elliott Sadler as they've got to try and figure out some help.
Yeah, the problem is they may only have one more pit stop in this race the way that it's going. To make an adjustment on this race car, when you can't feel that right rear, especially on concrete, you're in trouble.
Well, Elliott's trying to reel his way back into the top 10. Everybody is chasing Joey Logano. We've passed halfway. He's led 85 laps. The driver leading at halfway at Dover has won the last 5 races. Maybe a good omen for the 18. We are 9 laps away from halfway. We had a competition caution. It's the only caution we've had. Joey Logano is our leader. He's led 75 of the 91 laps that we have run. You see Justin Allgaier and Casey Kane are the other 2 that have led laps. Biggest movers, Brian Scott, Tim Andrews, and Brad Teague. We've got 10 cars that are either out of this race or behind the wall. And as you can see right now, the standings, well, they're getting even tighter. Let's go nationwide, up to speed. And Joey Logano, and that means Dave Burns, you've got it.
And Marty, he's not complaining much about his race car right now. If he did, he'd have some new ears listening to him. Joey's trying out a new spotter in the Nationwide Series. 23-year-old Coleman Presley is spotting in the Nationwide. He's a crew chief in the K&N Series. He's a racer himself. And he's also being evaluated for possible future work with Joey. Oh, and one more thing. He lives in Joey's house. So it was easy to find him, easy to put him to work. And so far, they're having a solid day together. Second place, 31, Justin Allgaier. His car is still a little bit loose. Remember, we said it was iffy when he turned the steering wheel on the first run. But they've had a good weekend so far. A solid practice in which they went right off the truck quick and kept that setup in the entire weekend. Vince?
Running in third place is Allgaier's teammate. That's the 38 of Casey Kane. Kane's crew chief, Trent Owens, working together for just the 3rd time. Owens made the call on that first pit stop to go with 2 tires instead of 4 like most others, but it hasn't hurt the car. Casey says it's still handling well. Jamie?
Well, when when it comes to Dover, Kyle Busch has made a playground out of this place in the past. 3 wins, and he's led 853 laps here, but he's still trying to lead that first lap today, saying his car starts out loose, but it starts to get a little bit better. First 15 laps, though, it feels like he has too much air in his tires. Dave?
We saw the struggles that Casey Kane had with a 2-tire stop. Austin Dillon's young crew was considering doing the same thing, but the veteran, Grandpa, Pop, Richard Childress, advised him, I don't think I'd go 2. You need to give him 4 here. They did that, and the car is still underneath. He needs to be tightened up going into the corner and loosened up coming off the corner right now. Doc?
And back behind him, Sam Hornich is 4th in the point standing, 6th on the racetrack, and 7 on the voltmeter. Well, the voltmeter seems to be an issue, but the speed has come back for Sam Hornich. In fact, the lap times have gotten better and better. He has shut some fans off. Right now, the car a little bit loose on the racetrack. Dave?
Paul Menard, we said, gained positions when he was on pit road. He's lost a couple on the track since the restart. One of the reasons was he was trying the top groove, but he reasoned it was way too loose for the car up there. He's gone back to the bottom for sure. Vince?
Well, and behind Menard is the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Came into this race 4 points behind in the championship hunt. He's about 6 seconds behind the leader right now. He says on a scale of 1 to 10, he's about a 5 loose all the way around. Jamie?
And the 11 of Brian Scott, they unloaded this car about where they left off in the June race here. And there he is, that bright yellow Dollar General machine. But he's saying the car is actually starting to slip inside. It feels like the tires are worn out, so he's going to need some changes definitely on this next stop, Vince.
And the 99 of Ryan Truex certainly had high hopes for his performance here today. Finished 2nd here in June after starting from the pole. He's running with a different team here today, but he said, oddly enough, that 99 car had a very similar feel to the Joe Gibbs machine he had here in June. Very optimistic about where they would be, but you see about 9.5 seconds behind the leader. A little too free right now, Marty.
And to wrap up our nationwide insurance up to speed, Darrell Wallace Jr. is 11th, and Elliott Sadler is running right now in the 12th position, and there he is.
No, right rear lateral grip. On entry or exit. On entry or exit.
That's all, man. We copy you.
Well, a tough break right now for Elliott Sadler as they've got to try and figure out some help.
Yeah, the problem is they may only have one more pit stop in this race the way that it's going. To make an adjustment on this race car, when you can't feel that right rear, especially on concrete, you're in trouble.
Well, Elliott's trying to reel his way back into the top 10. Everybody is chasing Joey Logano. We've passed halfway. He's led 85 laps. The driver leading at halfway at Dover has won the last 5 races. Maybe a good omen for the 18. 92 laps to go. Joey Logano has led 92 laps so far in this race. We've knocked down a total of 108. His lead over Justin Allgaier now is 2.3 seconds. You see him going around the 39 there of Tim Andrews. Andrews is lap traffic. Behind Allgaier, it's Casey Kane, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, and Sam Hornish Jr. That is your top 6. And the 18 car has been a rocket ship. Now, there was a bit of a moment, we'll let you take a look, between the 01 of Mike Wallace and our race leader.
You see Mike Wallace racing him hard.
Let's check in with Dave Burns on the 18.
Marty, let's go inside Joey Logano's helmet when that was happening.
Tell him I'm going to wreck him the next time he does that. I will back his ass in the fence so hard. 10-4, I'm backing it, buddy. You're clear by 40 into the second place car.
And crew chief Adam Stevens calmed his driver down, got the information about how his car was really handling, tight from the center off, and Joey went back to dominating this race, guys.
Well, I mean, lap traffic, as we said, was going to be a problem here. I'm surprised at how much they're letting the lap cars run up on the higher side. You appreciate a little courtesy, especially as the leader with that, but I didn't really see a whole lot there that Mike Wallace did.
Well, here's more good news for Joey. The driver leading the most laps has won 9 of the last 11 Dover races, including the last 5, and he has clinched that already as he has led 96 laps. All right, let's go back one more time and see from Joey's perspective what we're talking about, or what he's talking about.
Come on. Now, he kind of ran down on his door getting in the corner. But I mean, Mike's just trying to race.
Still there.
Race to keep from losing that lap.
Statistician Jimmy Hicks just gave me something that Joey might have a bit of a memory fade. He spun a car that was 5 laps down in June while trying to get around him.
So he means what he says.
And if you don't believe us, let's go to the videotape. Goodbye. He was able to catch back up, got around Ryan Truex, and took the win. So the videotape didn't lie, and memories are short in racing, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's intense. It's hard driving these cars. And again, you just appreciate a little courtesy in that respect. But, you know, Mike Wallace really just ran down into the corner. Got big problems here.
Jeremy Clements. And everybody backs it off because he has brought out our second caution.
Does a good job getting that thing down to the apron.
It could have easily slid into the wall.
It's almost more like a wheel bearing problem or something of that.
That's kind of weird. It's just all that smoke coming out of the left front. It could be. It might be coming out from the. It could be coming from the wheel bearing. Take a look here. Might be coming from under the hood there, just coming out from the fender well. Could be an oil cooler, oil line. Not good. Whatever it is.
No, it wasn't. Jeremy was 25th. He was 2 laps down at the time of his problem. Started 27th. Of course, back here in June, he had a very good run as he went to a 10th place finish, but that's not going to be his fortune today. So our second caution has come out here with about 84 laps to go. We are just on the outside of the window being able to go all the way.
Yeah, we're probably even inside. I think a lot of cars can go from here, and I think you're going to see everybody get 4 tires. A lot of these cars we've seen need adjustments. This is going to be their last chance to do it.
What about Hornish's battery situation?
Well, if they are down, they're just monitoring that voltage. I don't see any way that thing can hold up from 7 volts. I mean, the only thing that they might have going on is a bad volt gauge. That would be the best case scenario for them. If it's still running, I think I'd just run it out.
Well, we'll find out. We can tell you that Joe Nemechek will get the lucky dog and get us 19 back on the lead lap. Doc, what are you hearing?
Got to be a gauge situation. I agree with Andy. If it was 7 volts, as he said on the radio about 25 laps ago, there's no way it would have lasted this long. They kept an eye on it, but actually the speed picked back up, so he's been running well. They have the spare batteries sitting here in case it does begin to quit or stumble, but right now he hasn't said another word, although he has cut the fans off, but it wouldn't have lasted this long, I wouldn't think, guys.
I'd just go ahead and run it out, Doc, just like you say. If it's going to let you down, it will, and you'll just have to come change it. But right now, I wouldn't try to change it and give up this good track position that they have.
Got it.
Well, the cars are on the backstretch right now, so they still have time to make the plan and get ready to do whatever they are going to do.
Remember, I won a race here with Harry Gann. For at least half the race, he was complaining about the volt gauge was down, way down, and I was just scared to death their alternator went out. So when he went to victory lane, we ended up winning. I went in and hit the starter, and it started right up. So it was a gauge that kept my heart stopped about half the race.
Well, as you can see, they're making their way down pit road, and it's a long way to the other end at 35 miles an hour. All the lead lap cars taking advantage. We saw Sam Hornish. He's the first in. And let's check in with Jamie Little.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Kyle Busch says he's a 2 loose, but despite that, he wants a spring rubber in the left rear, tape on the nose, 4 tires. They'll fill it up with Sunoco fuel. Dave?
Joey Logano leads, but he wants to turn a little bit better. They'll make a slight air pressure adjustment. That Sunoco fuel going in. They told him to save a little because they're on the edge of the window as soon as they get back on the track. Justin Allgaier, his car right now has no rear grip. They'll make an adjustment for him. 4 tires. Vince?
Casey Kane, bottom right-hand portion of your screen, says the car is good. They're going to just put 4 tires on it and pack it full of Sunoco fuel for Casey Kane.
With a race off pit road, as you can see, 4 tires. Sam Hornish Jr. picks up 3 positions. Austin Dillon picks up 1. Casey Kane, Kyle Busch each drop a couple of spots, and we were keeping our eye on Elliott Sadler, and they weren't good enough to get him back. All fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. Well, we got a moment. Let's also take you over the wall with Shane Papala, front tire changer on the 99. And Ryan Truex came out in 13th position. Let's talk to our in-race reporter, DJ.
Ryan Dale Jarrett, you with us?
Yes, sir.
Well, we've been watching you quite a bit. Looks like your day is going okay, but maybe we've seen you turning that steering wheel right a little more than what you would like to.
Yeah, we've been battling a little bit at loose on landing. The track's been changing a lot with the sun going in and out, and rubber, getting filled up over a run, and then you run around here under caution, and it picks all the rubber back up, and you pretty much have a green racetrack. So Scott and these guys have been doing a lot of adjustments and fixing this old Sea-Watch Toyota up. I think we're going to have a good car here for this restart. You never know if it's going to be a long run or a short run, so we'll see. Hopefully the track gets rubbered up and our car stays good and we can go towards the front.
Is your car better on that longer run right now?
We were good till about, I'd say, halfway, maybe 3/4 through that run. The rubber just started to build up to where we were sliding around a lot. So just try to adjust for that and, see if we can get this car up there.
All right, thanks for talking. Good luck.
There were also a couple of issues on pit road as the 38 of Casey Kane and the 54 of Kyle Busch came down pit road. Let's show you what happened there. Casey slows. Kyle says, okay, I'm going to go around.
Good job, guys. The 38 must have ran out of fuel or something coming down pit road. His shut off. That's what got us so backed up off of 31. So you guys recovered nicely for me.
Vince?
Marty, the 38 should not have run out of fuel, as crew chief Trent Owens was talking with Casey Kane about that, but Kane said it definitely chugged and almost shut off as it came down pit lane. The car was running when it came into the box, but it definitely was chugging when it got there.
Yeah, it just kind of looked funny. You see the way they got side by side, that's not legal, but if somebody has a problem, obviously you can go around it.
All right, 19 cars on the lead lap. Joey Logano is the man up front, and he has decided to take the high side. There's row 2, Austin Dillon, Sam Hornish Jr. Hornish's crew gaining 3 spots. Kyle Busch, Casey Kane in row 3, Menard and Scott in row 4, and rounding out the top 10, Wallace and Stenhouse, and we're back to green flag racing. And guess what? Joey's picking up right where he left off. Side there is Casey Kane trying to get underneath the 3 of Austin Dillon, and Kyle Busch got a bird's eye view of both of them.
I'd say that 38 would have to be in trouble if this thing goes green to the end if they were out of fuel.
Yeah, if they were full the time before. They took 2 tires, so they may have left their pit stall on that first pit stop before they got completely full.
Well, we have 75 laps to go this time by. And there you see the top 3 as they've opened up that gap back to 4th place. Casey Kane. I was listening to you talking to Ryan Truex, and he said, boy, it's loose on landing. This may be the only track where we ever hear something like that.
Yeah, I know the fans are saying, what are you talking about landing? Well, the racetrack literally falls out from under you, particularly going down into turn 1. And you do have to wait for the race car to land, and you hope that you've got the wheels going in the right direction as it's doing that.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 6, trying to get underneath the 33 of Paul Menard. Whoa, and right behind you saw the 11, Brian Scott, get real loose. Another nice save, but it allows Michael Annett to squeeze up underneath, at least for the moment.
Michael Annett having another good solid day.
Annett in his last 5 races has been in the top 10 in every single one of them. A 5th at Richmond was his best. He's coming off back-to-back 7th place finishes as we move back to the front. And there you see Joey Logano, Justin Allgaier. Austin Dillon in the 3, taking the high line, and that is the battle for 4th.
Yeah, I wondered if he might go to this high line a little quicker on this run. He was on the outside there on the restart. Looked like he was going to make it work, but this is where he really picked up a lot of time by moving up about a lane and a half on that last run. Worked well for him.
On board with Austin. What's amazing about this kid, he's 22 years old, won the Truck Series championship last year, and you forget that he is a rookie here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, competing for the championship, running in 3rd place right now. In fact, he's narrowed the gap as they're running to 12 points. He has completed every single lap this season but one. That was back at Iowa. And you want to talk about some of the guys he's outgunned in their respective rookie seasons? How about Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch? Look at those numbers.
That's impressive right there. Now, you know, he races like a veteran race car driver. You just don't think of him as being a rookie. And the fact that he's completed all the laps and he keeps his car so clean, it just doesn't really line up with being a rookie. But his car looks pretty good right now, Dave. As a matter of fact, one of the best cars I've seen today.
It does, Andy. They made a slight adjustment last time. His car a little bit tight. And when I talked to Austin about the championship yesterday, he said, you know, at this point last year in our Truck Series championship run, we were about the same distance behind in points, and we made it up. Now, he knows these are 2 different series, but he's confident based on the numbers that he's still got a shot. And if he keeps running like that graphic showed, I think he can get there.
Well, you see the points as they run right now. Stenhouse and Sadler would be tied, and Austin would be 12 markers behind. But right now at Dover, everybody is still chasing Joey Logano, as here are the top 3. And so I guess that battery issue is really more like a faulty gauge.
Well, he's right there. I wouldn't even think about coming in where he's running now.
Justin Allgaier has closed the gap. You're right on board with Sam Hornish Jr.
Concentrate and beat him mentally. Better in 1 and 2, he's better in 3 and 4. Yeah, 10-4. 10-4. Be smart here.
Well, Justin's got a good car, about the best car he's had all year.
As we mentioned, he finished 5th here in the June race as we go on board with him. He is that close to Joey Logano. He's one of our 3 leaders. Allgaier led early in this race for 13 laps. Casey Kane's led 3, but Logano's led 118.
The outs.
Running second and running down Joey Logano. Justin Allgaier has big problems. The car started smoking. At first it looked like it might be a motor issue. Then it looked like the track bar mount might be broken. The car eased over to one side and rode on that left rear tire. And you see the right rear now looks low as well. He's going straight to the garage. His crew is sprinting back to the Nationwide Series garage. Marty.
Thank you, David. So a tough break for Justin Allgaier.
Yeah, one of the things that this track has is really high loads, and those lateral loads can work its way on the. It can actually just overwork these track bar brackets. See right there, he has no control of that lateral body movement from the track bar.
Some of the things these crew chiefs are doing to try to make their cars better puts that track bar in a more vulnerable position.
Oh, we got an
try to
issue
make
here.
this stuff as light as you can, but this track will find the weak link in that suspension.
Everything's good in here. Tire. Left rear. Just rubbing. Okay.
Yeah, it was a little bit more than just rubbing as he is behind the wall, and it means now that Sam Hornish Jr., as there you see Justin back in the garage area, Sam Hornish Jr. now moves up to 2nd place. Casey Kane is 3rd. Austin Dillon now 4th. Kyle Busch rounds out your top 5. And for Allgaier, he has only 3 finishes outside the top 15 in 2012. He's 5th in the points. It looks like this day may snap that streak. Ryan Blaney going around the high side of the 7 of Danica Patrick. That is for 16th on the racetrack. Both of them are on the lead lap. We have a total of 18 cars still on the lead lap.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Ryan Blaney hasn't run any better today in that 22 car.
Dave, are you hearing anything on the 22?
All day, Marty. That car has been way too loose. And Jerry Bones, the crew chief, told me that was something they were trying to get out of their cars. This is his 4th run for Penske Racing, that is Ryan Blaney. Bubba's told me that they want to get the loose out of it. It's been loose all day. They have put 2 different spring rubber sections into the left rear to try to tighten that car up. It's gotten a little bit better, but it's still the same way for young Ryan Blaney.
Maybe they should have taken the setup from Sam Hornish Jr.'s car, because last lap, guess who was the fastest on the track, Andy? You pointed it out.
Yeah, looking at Sam now that he's in second spot. He's actually quicker than Logano.
It's amazing being able to see the leader versus the second place car, how much it might pick your intensity up just a little bit.
Let's go on board with Sam.
Well, you can just tell the way he's digging right there. He's giving it all he has.
I saw Sam before qualifying. He still does not have a contract signed for next year. Although he told me, he said it's just been the fact that we just haven't had time to get together. They have been doing so many things. Of course, he's still running both Cup and Nationwide.
Gotta hurry up and sign him up. I'll tell you what, this is a good race car driver.
Yeah, he's going to start 4th in tomorrow's Cup race, so he could have 2 banner days. Let's check in on the 11 and the 43, Brian Scott and Michael Annett, as those two are duking it out for the 8th spot.
We talked about Brian Scott having come from deep in the field here. Actually ended up starting in the 36th spot and has made his way forward. Battling for that 8th spot here right now with Michael Annett, who again said another solid effort. This race team's really done a great job since being put together in late January. Barely were able to get everything together before Daytona, but been very, very solid.
And we mentioned the fact that he has this string of top 10 finishes going all the way back to Bristol. He has 5 in a row, and it looks like he could be on his way to making it 6 in a row. There is your top 5. Joey Logano, he still led 135 laps so far. We've got
back at Dover, where the weekend of racing continues with the motorsports calendar. Tomorrow, it's the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Dover, presented by GoDaddy.com, 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2, it's the AAA Insurance NHRA Midwest Nationals. And then the NASCAR Nationwide Series is off next weekend. They return to action Friday night, October the 12th, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. It's the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Charlotte, presented by GoDaddy.com. One of the coolest seats in the house at Dover is that right there on the Monster Bridge. Not only can you see the cars and hear them, I kid you not, you can feel them as well.
Yeah, it's a great seat.
So we asked you earlier to treat your seat. Of course, there's always Miles the Monster. After all, this is the Monster Mile.
Hey, there we are.
Apparently, we have some stalkers. Very nice. And this guy, I like this one. Seabass totally taking advantage of all that we have to offer.
Using all the mediums available to him.
He's a techie.
Earlier in the day when this race started, we were talking about some of the young guns in the field, including the gentleman who started on pole, Darrell Wallace Jr., Brad, who is making today just his 4th Nationwide Series start.
Yeah, Darrell's done a good job. Looks like he's fought in his race car a little bit of tightness early on, and they've made some adjustments to that car, and he's been very, very solid, lurking around that top 10. So good day so far, a lot of good experience, good seat time. Let's see if he can get a top 10 finish.
How about Ryan Truex coming into this race with a little bit of redemption on the mind, but in a different car, the 99. He was with Joe Gibbs Racing the last time we were here.
That was a good point, Nicole, and we talked about that today. You know, equipment virtually the same, but sometimes experience of the team. We talked about things we're going to have to go good on pit road. He has struggled a little bit with the setup of the car today. Really impressed with this young man's ability to be calm. He speaks like a person with a lot of experience. He's doing what he needs to do today. He's logging laps, being competitive, gaining that experience, and showing, hey, he can finish this race and do well. Pretty impressed with his ride today.
Move back just a few spots on the track. You'll find Ryan Blaney in the 22. Rusty, what do you think of him?
Yeah, kind of more of the same what Ray was talking about. Ryan's out there has gained a lot of experience. This is another really good race car. This is one Brad Keselowski usually drives and wins in a lot. But right now, Ryan just doesn't have it figured out yet. He's running 15th. He hasn't hit anything, which is really good. You haven't tore the car up at all. So if you don't hit the car, you don't crash, you bring it home with a top 15 finish. You've gained a lot of experience. That's good. And that's what he's doing right now. I'm pretty proud of him, watching him. I know he wants to do better because you know the car he's in is awful good.
Marty, what's going on with that 12 car?
Well, that's a question we're going to be trying to find out as well, because all of a sudden he has fallen off the pace. It looks like he's heading for pit road, Doc.
Yeah, he just yelled right rear tire, guys, right rear, and they all began jumping around here. You know, it's snapping their fingers. Obviously, disappointment. After driving from 14th to have one of the best cars here, they are ready for him. They are watching for him. He said right rear, and now he is slowing and going to be headed our way. Here he is, guys, on pit road. They will change the right side tires. He had no complaints at all of any kind of a handling issue, but the right rear tire had gone down, guys.
Tough break. He was running second at the time. Remember, he was coming off a second place finish just last week at Kentucky. Let's go on board.
Inside, bud. All clear. Got it down inside. Yeah, coming to you. 10-4, right side or left side? You got anything? Right rear. 10-4, guys. Two tires, no fuel.
So the right rear, and you can see how he was fighting it. He brings it in, and what it means, Andy and DJ, he is now back in 18th spot, 1 lap down.
Yeah, really unfortunate, because just another solid effort by Sam Hornish, and they did a great job of saving. That's not an easy task here as you're running as fast as you are down into the corners and not really having any idea you've got a problem until you get there.
That's a terrible break, too. They were really right there. I mean, he was keeping pace with Joey Logano, if not actually beating him every other lap or so. And had that. They had to run over something because I didn't see any evidence of where he made contact with another car.
Elliott Sadler is closing the gap on Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the number 6.
A little surprised at both of these drivers not being any more competitive up towards the top 5 than what they are, but yeah, they're probably glad that they're having an off day, that they're able to keep each other in sight. Vince?
Well, they have indeed, but I tell you what, DJ, neither one of them have been very happy today, and both of them talking about the same issue, feeling like they haven't had any right rear grip, like that right rear is just not in the track. It's been amazing how we've heard that up and down pit lane today. Guys just searching for more grip, particularly on that right rear.
Let's go on board with Elliott for half a lap or so as he's not fighting the wheel, but you can hear him feathering the throttle.
Yeah, when you don't have that, feel like that right rear's under you, you can't give it all the throttle that you need to.
Everybody is still chasing Joey Logano. He is leading by 2 seconds over Casey Kane. Austin Dillon is running third. Stay with us. Get up! The 39 of Tim Andrews has brought out our third caution of the day here. He was 3 laps down, running in 23rd when a big puff of smoke came out of the 39 Mustang. That's what it looked like. Kyle Busch was behind. Nobody got swept up in anything. And Tim, as you can see, made it safely back to pit road. But now it means that the 87 of Joe Nemechek gets the free pass. 17 cars back on the lead lap. Sam Hornish Jr., in case you were wondering, was second in the lucky dog position. So he's probably hoping that everybody pits and he'll take the waiver round.
I said he'd be right, everybody pitting, get 2 tires, some fuel to make sure they can make it.
Just in case we would have a green-white checker as well.
They're not. The pit road's open that time by. They didn't come.
So, I guess they fooled all of us. Let's get an update on the 31 of Justin Allgaier. He's still back in the garage area, Jamie.
Well, actually, he just fired it up. These boys have been working. It was the track bar where it mounts to the chassis was completely broken. They were underneath the car welding, getting it all put back together. Justin is rolling out now as the rest of the field gets ready to pit.
Well, and you're saying, well, why does Justin go back out? He's 5th in the points. The top 5 get the speak at the banquet, and he's only 13 points now ahead of the 43 of Michael Annett. Under our third caution gives us a chance to remind you that tomorrow, Sprint Cup Series action from here at Dover, presented by GoDaddy.com. It's at 1 Eastern on ESPN. And tomorrow night on ESPN2 at 8 Eastern, we've got the AAA Insurance NHRA Midwest Finals. And then we're off for about 2 weeks till Friday, October 12th on ESPN at 7 Eastern, the NASCAR Nationwide Series from Charlotte. It's presented by GoDaddy.com. All right, so now we've got 20 laps to go. And here's an interesting little tidbit you might find. Joe Gibbs Racing has either won or were passed for the final lead change in 9 of the last 10 Dover races. And guess who's on point? Joey Logano for Joe Gibbs Racing. And is this the last gasp for anybody, Casey Kane or anybody behind him? Do they have to get him now? Or is he just going to drive away again?
They haven't been able to get him any other way. I think that'd be what I'd try to do is attack on this restart.
Yeah, and you can see he's chosen that outside, which I think is the proper thing. It's just so hard on that inside with the banking on these straightaways to get your car up to speed. Joey obviously has a big advantage here.
Saw row 2. There's row 3 and row 4. Stenhouse and Sadler, the points leaders side by side. Darrell Wallace Jr. back in the top 10. We're back to green flag racing. Bye-bye.
Something happened to Casey Kane. I don't know if he ran out of fuel again or having that same issue.
Yeah, he is dropping like a rock. Everybody's trying to split him. And Darrell Wallace is having issues as well.
Boy, that shook a lot of things up. Elliott Sadler went from 8th to 4th on that. 3 wide.
There is Ricky Stenhouse in the 6. He's trying to get around the 54 Kyle Busch, the 3 of Austin Dillon right behind him.
I think Austin Dillon, big loser here. He was jammed right up on the back bumper, Casey Kane, when his car would not go.
And you're right, Elliott Sadler moves up to 4th. How about Michael Annett? He's up to 3rd. Darrell Wallace still struggling with his car. That's Ryan Blaney in the 22 going on the high side. Well, you saw Kyle Busch get a little tail happy coming out of the corner. He reeled it back in. All right. 17 laps to go. Let's go back to the restart. Let's keep an eye on Austin Dillon, the 3 car.
Casey Kane just does not go. Everybody jammed up behind him.
And anybody in the right side, the high side, just took advantage. On board with Dillon.
Yeah, that looks like definitely a fuel issue.
Come on, there you go. Still outside.
It's got to be a pickup problem on that fuel cell for Casey Kane because he's running still. He did make a pit stop.
15 to go. We're by 10.
Just got one inside.
You heard the call. 15 laps to go. Joey Logano, boy, he's just motoring. He's led 169 laps, but boy, a lot is going on behind him.
Yeah, Austin Dillon really struggling right now. I don't know if he's got a tire going down or something here.
You can see he's got a lot of damage down the right side. When they got 3 wide, I think he got the worst of it.
He's shown in 10th position right now. Casey Kane trying to go underneath him. There is Sam Horns, but remember, Sam is still 1 lap down. He is running in 18th position.
Yeah, and he came in and got fresh tires that last time, being the only car a lap down, to see if he could take advantage of that. What looked like a really big day for the 3 car points-wise has now gone in the opposite direction for him.
Well, how about Casey Kane? He's still winless in the Nationwide Series this year. What about it, Vince?
Heartbreaking, and I spoke with crew chief Trent Owens about the fact that Kane's average finish this season in the Nationwide Series is 12.8. He said, we've run so much better than that. We've had chances to win races. We can't catch a break. I looked at him and asked him about that restart. He said, I don't know. And Casey has said nothing on the radio.
Well, he's going underneath the 3 of Austin Dillon right now, so move Casey into 10th. And boy, another point lost by Dillon.
I'm not sure, like you say, Dale, that he doesn't have a tire going down that 3 car.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. under attack from the 11 of Brian Scott. Stenhouse running in 7th. He's already been passed by Cole Witt, and Witt has made a heck of a comeback.
You can see Brian Scott came in and got, I believe it was right side tires that last time. Make a real difference here. What a huge turnaround for Elliott Sadler, who had run outside the top 10 and finally driven his way up to 8th. But it looked like he was kind of stuck there, and on that restart happened to be in the right lane as he now battles for 3rd with Michael Annett.
Yeah, what it does to the points. Look at the screen. It would be a 7-point difference between Sadler and Stenhouse. 26 back to Austin Dillon. And Austin at one point had it whittled down to about 14, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I believe it actually got to 12 at one time.
That's right.
When Elliott had dropped back.
So right now, Brian Scott, who started 38th in that 11 car after a horrible qualifying run, is putting all kinds of pressure on Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Yeah, Stenhouse is kind of in a bad spot here. He doesn't have as good of tires as some of the cars behind him. He's trying to fend them off. That's kind of a precarious situation to be in late in the race.
Yeah, and Brian Scott really was doing a good job understanding the situation that Ricky Stenhouse is in there. But I think Ricky Stenhouse finally decided, okay, they probably told him he did have tires. not to get yourself in any more trouble than what we're already in here.
Hey, let's give a shout out to that 19 car. That was formerly driven by Taylor Mousom. He was relieved this week. Mike Bliss is behind the wheel. They are running in the 9th position. So Bliss has done a nice job. You see where he is currently. Started 15th. Hasn't really been in that mix until now.
He's looking for more, too. He's faster than Stenhouse.
Yeah, and it's no surprise. Everything we see Mike Bliss get in, he makes it go fast.
See, Casey Kane's car seems to come back to life, but it sure did not get going on that start.
Well, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., you can see what's happened to him as he finishes as points leader this season. He comes back Darlington 6th, Iowa 1st, then Charlotte and Kentucky 26th and 17th. And when you've got the points lead, the trick is you got to try and hold on to it. Right now, he is 8 points behind as they're running. We go on board with Ricky. Next time by, there will be 5 laps remaining here. Nobody's had anything for that 18 car, Joey Logano.
Oh, Wynn doing a nice job here. He really has a battle trying to get around Kyle Busch for this 5th spot. Be a great top 5 if he's able to do that today.
Witt dropped as low as 20th. He had a speeding penalty during the competition caution. Has managed to rally back to this point and is giving Kyle all Kyle wants. And remember, Kyle is still winless this year in his own car. 8 years in a row he has had at least 1 win in the Nationwide Series. The record is held by Mark Martin at 9. And after today, we've only got 5 more races to go for him to keep that streak going. It's one of the few records in the Nationwide Series he doesn't hold. Not missing anything up front. Logano's lead is 7/10 of a second. This is the best battle we've got on the racetrack. This is sort of settled down, so let's go back, check in with our race leader. He just went blistering past you, as he's done to everybody in the field today, leading 182 laps. We've only had 3 different leaders today. It's been the Joey Logano show. Paul Menard is in 2nd place right now, but that's not been a very lucky spot. Remember, Justin Allgaier had his issues when he was running 2nd. So did Sam Hornish. And Paul, who's also looking for his first win this year in the Nationwide Series, is running out of laps. White flag is out. Just 1 more circuit to go on the 1-mile Monster Mile. And it has been the Joey Logano show. Down the backstretch for the final time. Logano looking for his 16th career win. It'll be his 2nd at Dover. Here he comes to cross the stripe.
Goes the dynamite. Good job, guys. Awesome job. Wicked car. Woo. Good job, Adam. Awesome job.
Well, you see where Elliott Sadler came across.
Everybody. I'm proud of you, Joey. Way to keep your head in the game.
Saw where Elliott Sadler came across the line in 4th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. came across in 9th. Austin Dillon in 10th. And the points, well, it's now 9 between Elliott Sadler, the points leader, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 2nd.
Well, that was a big turnaround, what we were seeing there late in the race. It's going to be a lot closer between all 3 of those drivers.
Austin Dillon made a nice pass to get a top 10 finish on the last lap. Getting pretty good at that.
For Joe Gibbs Racing, his 75th team win in the Nationwide Series. 7th win of 2012 for the team. And let's talk to the winning crew chief. How about it, Dave?
Marty, think about that number. 7 for 17. He's over 40% now on the year. What do you think about the drive today?
I saw your lips moving, Dave, but it's really loud out here.
It's a good burnout. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I tell you, we had to fight for this one. We unloaded with last race's setup, and the Sports Clips Toyota was a little off. We worked on it hard, and Joey led us where we needed to be, and all the guys stayed patient, and we stuck with our game plan. We really felt like we knew what the track was going to do, and we had our hands full for a while, but it came to us.
7 for 17, Marty.
His 7th win of 2012, as you mentioned, is the most of all drivers. It's a single season career best for Joey in the Nationwide Series. And does it bode well for him tomorrow in the Cup race?
It certainly doesn't hurt anything, for sure. But that was just an awesome performance right there. Yeah, I mean, it sure looked a lot easier than it sounded like coming from Adam Stevens.
Well, Joey will start 14th tomorrow in the Cup races. You get a slow motion look at the burnout. Joey Logano might be in the battle of the burnouts this week. NASCAR now is a great look in the slow motion action. That's sharp. Take a look at this. This is staggering. We talk about baseball players being paid millions and millions of dollars for failing 7 out of 10 times, batting 300. He is hitting at 41%. 7 out of 17 races he has been in the winner's circle. Let's go to victory lane.
Well, it took a little while to get the first nationwide win here. That came earlier this year. Now it looks like you got it covered, but Adam said you had some work to do today. What would you call today's race?
I told Adam my monster trophy we got here last time, he was lonely. It needed a friend, so I'm glad we were able to get one for that. It's our last race at Sport Clips for the year, so I'm excited to get them another victory. Adam Stevens, man, I don't know what to say. He's amazing. He's given me some great race pieces 7 times this year, and man, can't thank him enough. This is second time we came here this year with a dominant race car, leading a ton of laps and making it easy for me.
This is a track that's difficult to drive. Lap traffic gets in the way a lot, Joey. When you have a handle on a place like this, what's that feel like?
Yeah, I think that it's just, the both of us just know what it takes to get a car to go fast here, and he's got one heck of a notebook. I know which direction their track's going to go, and we did a good job in practice tuning it in for the race, and it's tough with lap traffic for sure, and timing is everything. It's all about looking at about 3 laps in advance, and man, it's just a lot of fun. It's fun driving great race cars.
Timing is everything. His timing on the stopwatch, great all day. He was the quickest car. He won the race, Marty.
Thank you, David. He dominated the race. He destroyed the field. But as we take a look at the standings, we'll get a chance to show you exactly how it has evolved to a 9-point margin. Elliott Sadler with his 4th place finish. That's his best Dover finish in 10 runs here in the Nationwide Series. He extends his lead to 9. Austin Dillon drops back 25 markers. And Sam Hornish Jr. with that tough break is now over 1 full race behind in 60 minus in the column. Vince is caught up with our points leader.
Elliott did stretch out that points lead a little bit today, brings it home with a top 5 finish, 4th, but I still get the feeling that you thought maybe you left something out there. You guys didn't quite have what you needed today.
Well, I just wish I did a better job yesterday, man. When the track got rubber on it today, it really made a big swing to the loose side, and we played catch-up most of the day, and Luke made some good adjustments there at the end. We started picking them off and had a good restart, but anytime it's your sponsor's race, like One Main Financial, you want to be in victory lane with those guys, but we'll take a 4th place finish. Proud of my guys. They worked hard, and that's we keep battling every week, and we'll move on to Charlotte.
And how about the perspective of just stretching that lead a little bit, point by point? Not many races left.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool to do that, but, man, I like those trophies. I feel it's been a while since I last went in Chicago, and I want to try to get these guys a couple more wins before the season's over with. So of the 5 tracks we got left, I've won at a couple of them, so we'll go there and try to get in victory lane, man. That's what this racing's all about. But just proud of how hard my guys are digging, coming down the stretch, and really got our cars lined up, we think, pretty well for the last few races, and we're going to go after it.
I like that. It's all about the trophy. Everybody wants the trophy. Take home the gold, huh? Let's go to Marty.
Well, it's not gold, but it's a concrete monster, and it is one beautiful piece of sculpture. As it's going to be for the 2nd time this year in Joey Logano's trophy case. And there he is as he celebrates in victory lane. We still have more coming your way from here. Celebration in slow motion. Down in victory lane for Joey Logano as he picks up his 7th win of 2012, and we shows you 42% batting average he has got this year in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And as he's getting soaked in slow motion, let's check the final results of today's race here at Dover on the Monster Mile. And you see behind Joey, Paul Menard still looking for his first win this year in the series. Michael Neck matches his career best. We already talked with Elliott. Kyle Busch comes home 5th, still looking for that all-elusive win in his own car. Cole Witt with a great run into 6th. Brian Scott came back from 38th. Casey Kane had a hard luck day. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. comes home in 9th, loses a little more ground. Let's talk to him.
Ricky Stenhouse, somewhat of a frustrating day listening on the radio. I know you said you were battling this car all day. What was the issue?
Everything. Our Ranchers Reserve Mustang was not as good as we thought it was going to be for sure, but we did all we could to finish 9th. That was a tough racetrack when it gets rubbered in, and just didn't have any grip, man. We struggled a lot, so we'll have to look at it, something a little different that we ran here that we haven't in the past, but all in all, finished a top 10. I guess it's not what we want. We always come to win, but I got to thank Cargill Beef, Ranchers Reserve, Safeway, NOS, Nationwide Insurance. It's a finish. We'll go on to Charlotte.
Back-to-back disappointing finishes, Ricky. What is the mindset? I mean, how do you put this in perspective with regard to battling Elliott Sadler for the championship?
Yeah, this hasn't ever been one of our best racetracks. So I guess out of the ones left, I guess this was the one that we didn't think we would be the greatest at. But, we got some great racetracks left. Last week might have been a disappointing finish, but we had a dominating car. So we can hang our hats on that. Today we can't really hang our hats on anything. So we'll just go on.
Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you.
And the team that comes to the track each week with a very similar setup, the sister team to that 6 team is the 43 of Michael Annette, and you and your crew chief put together a pretty good piece today. 3rd place finish, ties your career best, another top 5. Was it as good as it seemed all day long?
It wasn't. Obviously, that's just kind of how our team works. We battle all day, and then we put ourselves in position at the end. But, yeah, it's kind of fun to pass Ricky there. Normally, I have to go first on Monday's meetings, whoever finishes worst. So it was fun to drive by him and know he's going first on Monday. But, I just can't thank Pilot Flying J enough, Nationwide Insurance, for allowing us to be here every weekend. But, we're hitting our stride right now. This 43 team, we're only getting better, and that's a cool thing. We were happy with our first top 5 this season. Now we're disappointed with 7th and still maybe a little disappointed with 3rd here, but we didn't have a 3rd place car, put ourselves in the right position and got us the top 5 and ready for a weekend off and go to Charlotte and hopefully get that first win for us.
6 straight top 10. Well done. Michael Annette, 3rd today. Marty.
Thank you, Vince. We're not done yet. We'll talk to Austin Dillon. He's got some more ground to make up, and we'll talk with Kyle Busch when we return to Dover International Speedway. Well, we are not done with the NASCAR Nationwide season just yet. In fact, we're going to be taking next week off, but then on Friday, October 12th, we'll see you at Charlotte Motor Speedway, then on to Kansas, Texas. One last 1-mile stop, that's Phoenix. The rest are all 1.5 miles, and we finish it off November 17th at Homestead Miami Speedway. And let's talk to some more of these guys. Let's find out what happened to Austin Dillon late in the race. How about it, Doc?
It looked like it was going to be a great day for Austin Dillon, but then the final restart, Austin, what happened?
I don't know. I got a good restart, and I asked Casey if he missed a shift or something, and he just said he spun the tires. And you're not allowed to pass before you get to start-finish line. I gave him a big hit, and then Kyle hit me, and turned left, got underneath it, and then when I was 3 wide with whoever was on the outside, I think it was Ricky, and the 54, and I got wedged in between, so the right side was killed. But we got a 10th. It's not what we wanted. We were really good actually today. Just started off sideways, tightened the car up, and had a top 3 car obviously. And just it's hard to it was going to be a good points day, and then to lose it like that there at the end, it's just not fun.
Looked like in the final 4 or 5 laps the car faded. The guys upstairs were speculating you might have had a tire going down. Any idea?
Yeah, we were just sideways. I don't know. I think the guys around us had tires too from pitting, but once you get back there and that stuff, your car changes totally. So. Just it's a bummer right there at the end. I got 1 spot in the last lap, so it's all right. We've been fast the last few weeks. That should have been another top 3 easy, and we should go on to the next week or Charlotte when it comes up and run well there.
Austin Dillon finishes 10th.
Well, Kyle Busch brings it home 5th today, and Kyle, I know 3 wins here. This is your playground. What's it like for you to watch the 18 go to victory lane without you in it, knowing you're building a team here?
Well, it's certainly a great race car. You know, I've been in it for a few years. We're working with Jason Ratcliffe now. Joey's there and doing the deal and keeping it up front with Adam and those guys. So they did a good job today. But this Monster Energy Camry was good. I felt like we had a decent car, and if we could have got track position and got a little bit further up there, I think we would have been better. And I don't think we would have challenged. You can't pass. You know, we weren't going to go forward. It's just I think that if we would have got to second, we would have been second. I think if we could have got to the lead, I think we probably could have held on and won the thing.
Well, Mike Beam told me now that you're not focused. You didn't make the chase, but your focus can be more here. How do you assess where your team is now, especially coming back to tracks for the second time?
Well, I feel like we're competitive. I've thought that, I would have liked to have had a better last restart, but Casey had issues there. I don't know if it was fuel or miss a shift or whatever, but kind of jumbled things up a little bit. And then I passed a couple cars and got back to 5th. And then was just able to hold on from there. You know, the 43 and the 2, they were trying to race each other in front of me, and they came back to me once, and then as soon as they came back to me, then they pushed me back, kind of like an accordion, and the 88 was on my tail, and he couldn't pass me on 4 fresh tires. So it's just a product of being on the concrete. You know, once the rubber gets laid down here and you're racing on top of rubber, it's really hard to pass.
All right, Kyle Busch will start 5th tomorrow in the Cup race.
Thank you, Jamie. Now, if you know the routine in Victory Lane, the winner and the team, they put on the hats from the respective sponsors, and they're supposed to hold up how many wins, and Joey forgot it was 7. And they had to retake.
You lose count.
He's going to run out of fingers at this rate.
Problem to have.
Back here at Dover, where the big winner today was Joey Logano, and for the first time in his 4 NASCAR Nationwide Series races, Darrell Wallace Jr. started on pole, but he will finish for the first time outside the top 10 in 12th. Still a good run. Let's talk to him, Dave.
And Marty, it was a top 10 run before that final restart. Darrell, let's start there. Describe what happened there.
38, I don't know if he missed a shift or what, but I checked up the bottom. That's where we were, and we went in there, and I didn't know somebody was on the inside of me and got clipped on the left rear quarter and almost lost it, but did a pretty good save, but not the finish that we wanted. You know, you look up there on the pylon and see 10 and up, and you don't see a 20 inside there, so I'm kind of bummed out about that. I'd like to finish one race where the car is where it should be. You know, I'm not saying we were a winning car, but we were definitely a top 10 car, and to finish not where the car is, it's disappointing. But, you know, I've had 4 races this year, and I've left disappointed because of myself. But we'll get it one day. But, you know, you just got to thank all the guys back at the shop. Matt Lucas did a heck of a job on top of the box today. And, you know, you just got to thank Freightliner for coming on board for this race. So hopefully this will do something. We qualified the pole, so hopefully that'll get us something for the future. I mean, you know, I'm working hard at it. So I got 2 more races in the East race, and that's it for me for this year. So we'll see what we got.
He mentioned the big bright spot, his first nationwide pole today at Dover. Dr. Punch?
Justin Allgaier, looked like you had maybe the car that could outrun Joey Logano, but then issues on the racetrack. How soon, was there any idea, preview that this was going to happen?
Well, we did have a really good branch over today, and I don't know if we had quite enough to get Joey. Joey had an amazing car, so congrats to those guys. But, you know, we're biding our time right there, and Spotter said we got a problem, and almost immediately I saw the smoke starting to fill inside the cockpit. And, you know, we had a tire rub, and I mean, unfortunately, when you're running second, it's hard to just pull down pit road with a tire rub. So we let it go as long as we could, and unfortunately just broke a track bar mount piece. And I mean, unfortunately, that's racing, and you know, it's the end of a day. But it was good to see how well we were running. You know, Casey was right up there until they had their problems on that last restart, and Alex Bowman did a great job today. So I don't know. We're on to next week, but definitely a frustrating day. And thanks Northeastern Supply for being on this week. And I don't know. What do you do?
Justin Allgaier, a 30th place finish. Let's check in with Jamie Little calling up with Ryan Truex.
And Ryan brings it home 14th today. And Ryan, it looked like your car got better there in the middle. You guys actually ran up in the top 10, but what happened on the last run?
Well, we were battling loose on landing pretty much the whole day. We fought it in practice yesterday. We thought we got it better, but we just fought that today. And it seemed like once the track got rubbered up, it just got real slick, and whatever end of your car was giving up grip, just got worse. So we were giving up grip in the rear and just lost rear grip. But got to thank Robbie Benton, everyone at RIB Racing, Sea-Watch, Grind Boss, Nationwide Insurance for this great series that I get to run in once in a while. I wish it was more. I wish it was every weekend, but we're working hard towards that. And obviously I'm doing everything on the track I can to get a full-time ride. So All in all, it wasn't the day I was looking for. You know, I thought we could have ran better. We did run better at times. We took 2 tires on that last stop, and we were just way too tight. So hard to say if you could have took 4 and lost a few spots, made them back up. It was really, really hard to pass today. So we'll take it, and I'll go on to Homestead with the 20 car.
Yep, Ryan Truex will be back in that 20 car next time we see him as the final race of the year. Doc?
Somehow, in spite of a lot of gremlins, Casey Kane manages an 8th place finish. Casey, first of all, what happened on that final restart?
It took off at a good jump with Joey, and then it just stalled out. And it did it on pit road earlier also, and it just kind of shuts off. It doesn't blubber or anything. Like, to me, it's not fuel. It was something else. And then from there, it finally took off about the time I got to turn 1. We raced back to 8th, and the temperature just went, through the roof there at the end. So there's an issue there, and I don't know what it is, but there's definitely an issue. But we had a really good Great Clips car today, thanks to everyone from Great Clips and Chevrolet, and the team did a nice job. We just another gremlin.
You're in the chase, and yet you're running a nationwide race. Is there anything you can take away from the day? I know the cars are different that can help you in the Cup race here on Sunday.
I'd say the biggest thing to me is just what the track did, how it rubbered in, how long it took from the time. Every time a caution comes out, you pick up so much of that rubber, and then how long it takes for the rubber to get back down to where you can move off the bottom and start racing around. And right when that final caution came out, we were just able to start moving around again. And I actually felt like I'm not saying I could have beat Joey, but I was definitely starting to reel him in and was feeling better and better. So I thought we had a good shot until the yellow came out and then our issue on the restart.
Thanks, Casey.
Thank you.
Well, as we said, Casey's still looking for his first win this season. In fact, it has been kind of tough for him. 14 races, 2 top 5s. His average finish is 12.8. It's actually been 54 races since his last victory back in 07 at Bristol. Dr. Jerry Punch, a little bit earlier, caught up with Brian Scott.
One of the more impressive runs of the day was this guy, Brian Scott. And Brian, 38 starting spot. We won't even talk about what happened in qualifying, but all the way to a top 10 finish in 7th. Talk about your run today.
Yeah, Jerry, I just wanted it really bad this weekend. Just tried to get a little too much qualifying, and it was just too loose to push it. Been racing with a heavy heart. My grandmother passed away 2 days ago. And the last thing I told her was I was going to race for her today. So I really wanted to get the victory late for her and tell my family I love them. And I'll see you guys in a couple days. Thanks.
Brian Scott, an emotional day, and what a run he had.
I think Grandma would still be very proud of you, Brian. We send you our condolences. All right, as we come topside, let's talk a little bit of 2 things. One, we haven't talked about the Owners' Championship. Joey Logano with that 18 car has just given that team a 21-point margin. That's big for the crews. You know that.
It is. That's what the team can go by. They don't have the same driver in that car every week, but they look at those points, those owners' points, and that's what they hang their hat on at the end of the season, and that'll be their championship if they can hold that to the end of the season.
The other thing I want to talk about is the Drivers' Championship right now. Austin Dillon, with 5 races left, he's 25 points behind. If you do the quick math, he's got to finish a little better than 5 spots each race. Is it now a 2-man race, DJ?
Well, pretty much so, but anything can happen, as we've seen how quickly this turned around. I mean, he'd gotten into a manageable position there, and then you have one restart, things don't go your way, you find yourself losing points. So he's just going to have to try to go win these races, apply as much pressure as what he can to Ricky Stenhouse and Elliott Sadler and see if he can do that. And with those guys kind of racing each other, then you can sneak in there. So I wouldn't call it a 2-man race yet. There's too much that can happen in these 5 events.
Oh, I definitely agree. I think Sam Hornish he's definitely raced his way out of it with what happened today. But I think 3 cars are in this for sure. That 3 car's running too good. I mean, it's like you said, today he was the best car of the 3. So I think it's definitely a 3-car race.
Well, we'll find out. As we mentioned, it's 9 points between first and second, 25 between first and third. So as we get ready to sign off for the day, we thank you so much for joining us. We'll remind you that the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from Dover here tomorrow, presented by GoDaddy.com at 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow on ESPN. Coming up next, it's ESPN College Football Primetime. It's presented by Hampton Hotels. Florida State versus South Florida. Congratulations to Joey Logano. For our entire ESPN crew, I'm Marty Reed. Thanks so much for spending part of your Saturday with us. Hope you enjoyed it. Till we meet again.